Mr. Gustavo is the president of Argentina Edible Oil Association, Grain Exporters Association. He represents exporters and crushing industry reaching 48% of national exports and a $30 billion US trade on annual basis. He is also international consultant working for WTO, IDB and FAO on SPS and agriculture trade including sustainability. We are curious to know what happening in that part of the world and whether we will have uninterrupted supplies from Argentina while Brazil seems to be producing more for China. So I welcome. I know it's a little bit too early for you. Thanks for making it. All yours.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the invitation. It is always a pleasure to be there, at least in a virtual way. For you know that for Argentina as a grain agriculture exporter country, India is a very important and historic partner. So we will continue working jointly with India in order to give all the needs that you have as a country on vegetable oils needs, but also in other agriculture and food products. I have a short presentation. Let me introduce what is going on in Argentina in reference to the current global pandemic situation. And also we will focus after that on the situation of the vegetable oil industry in Argentina, particularly this current campaign. And we will focus on soybean oil supply and some comments in reference to sunflower oil supply. In Argentina, the federal government has stated since March 20 a national social isolation policy, which is a compulsory rule for all the territory. These compulsory rules have been released in many parts of the country in the last months, but it is still going on till June 14, and probably it will going to be extended in the area of Buenos Aires City and surrounding, which is the Buenos Aires City, the capital city of the country, where we focus more than 90% of the coronavirus cases. Since March, as an exporting industry, we have been developed and implemented health preventive protocols for plants, transporters, and ship personnel. We have applied general preventive protocols, including working together with the Ministry of Agriculture at federal level, but also at provincial levels, and including working with Ministry of Transportation. We also set up an Industry Sanitary Management Committee, which is in place. We have included a scientific advisor working for the president, but also working for industry as part of this National Industry Sanitary Management Committee. And we've been collaborating with national and provincial legislation in order to allow circulation of transport. The first point of the problem were when the isolation measures were introduced, as it happened in many other countries, was the problem of the circulation of transport, particularly grains and food. But so far, those problems in Argentina have been solved. And also we've been working with our national authorities, particularly customs, and our National Food Safety Authority, which is called SENASA, collaborating with them in all the border check health protocols, including check protocol for vessels. All the 22 ports that we have in Argentina, 22 ports dedicated for grains and vegetable oils and meals, all of them are operated. All of them are working. We have agreed also with our National Food Safety Authority the introduction of digital signatures, phytosanitary certificate. We have the possibility to normalize the number of officials from the government in port and plant as inspection service. And in customs, we have introduced some fast process in order to speed up the process of documentations, having in mind that right now we are not having any possibility of physical request of documentations. The main problem that we are having in Argentina is not in reference to the pandemic, which is in Argentina under control, but the main problem that we have is Parana River. Let me give you some few words about this, and let me start a short video so you can see the problem that we have of low level of water on Parana River. This height of Parana River in the port of Rosario, which is the center of our main port of Argentina, has dropped to 0.40 meters deep, which is a level that has not been recorded for almost 50 years. This implies, of course, enormous logistical, transport, and industrialization problems with an associated cost during the first 5 months period of this year, including an impact on the navigation and maximum load of ships and barges that we are having soybean from Paraguay and Brazil. To understand the weight of this and externally downstream of the Parana River has in the agriculture sector, it is important to remember that in that area, in the greater Rosario, we concentrate 80% of the theoretical daily processing capacity of soy and sunflower that Argentina has. In addition, 75% of the total grains, 96% of meals, and 93% of vegetable oil exported by the country were dispatched from those port terminals at the Greater Rosario last year. The impact of the lower water flow in the Parana River has different implies. The first one is lower rate of income from ships to ports. The second one is less load of the total of grains and byproduct in each ship. Lower exit rate, of course, and also some higher storage cost in terminal and plants. There is, of course, the risk of grounding. We have already experienced some problem of grounding of ships during the last few days. And so following all of this extraordinary downspout of the Parana River, each tanker that loads soybean oil in the port of the Gran Rosario is resigning a load capacity of about 6,000 tons per unit. We are not expecting to improve the situation in June or July, but the experts are expecting an improvement of the situation of the level of water by approximately August or September of this year. What is going on in reference to the situation, the export and production situation of soybean oil in Argentina? Last year, Argentina, as the first world exporter of soybean oil, we exported around 6.4 million tons, particularly to India, that we reached a volume of 2.8 million tons. India, for us, is the main market worldwide. In the case of export of sunflower oil, last year we exported around 850,000 tons, and we export only to India around 182,000 tons, which is important if we consider previous year that we are increasing more than 25% our export to India on sunflower oil. The current campaign, particularly this year on soybean supply, we are calculating of around 60 million tons, having in mind that we have an annual production of 50 million tons, and so we are including the carry from last year and also import of soybean from Paraguay and the south of Brazil, so we are calculating 60 million tons. Right now, according with official data, we have already harvested 75% of the soybean production in Argentina, and we have, according with the official data, a crushing expected from this year of the range of 39 till 41 million tons. Export from January to April of soybean oil worldwide have reached a volume of 1.7 3 million tons, and India, it is, of course, the main market. We are looking to see what is the reaction of the Indian market in the COVID situation. So all the previous speakers have already shared some very interesting data about the current and the short-term situation in India. In reference to sunflower oil supply in Argentina, we are calculating by official data that we have a production of 3.2 million tons. Export from January to April reached a volume of 90,000 tons, and India is the third market. One of the important points here around the key drivers for price making, it is important to point out that the COVID pandemic has already generated high uncertainty that many speakers already pointed, and a strong dynamic of contact change in the formation of international prices. In the case of soybean oil, it is important to say that COVID has had a negative impact due to the drop in the consumption of edible oil in the HoReCa channel, but particularly in restaurants, as well as the drop in the consumption of bioenergy due to the sharp drop in oil prices. It is not clear if this price situation will continue throughout the year. It will depend particularly on the extension of the isolation measures in many countries worldwide. Possible disruption in Argentina are not coming on the COVID, but particularly on the situation of the level of water of the Parana River. Also, I forgot to say that to date, there has been no confirmed cases of coronavirus in any of the grain exporting port in Argentina. So having in mind this, India is a very important market. We are committed to continue with our supply in a good quality, not only soybean oil, but also sunflower oil. I'm happy to receive any specific question about my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Gustavo. Yeah, I think that was pretty interesting.